The Walking Dead, Season 2, Episode 6, Thoughts. This episode is called Secrets. It could have been called Secrets and Lies, but Glenn is not able to lie to anyone. Another episode I love. Spoilers for every episode leading up to and including this one. The episode is rated TV-14, some frickin' how. So will this video be? Let's dive right in. So, yeah, we see let's see, I think the first thing is Carl and Lori, feeding chickens. And, Carl says the rather grim sentence, "Everything is food for something else," which immediately makes Lori regret showing him The Lion King. Not because of that, entire, circle of life thing, but primarily the fact that she liked it about as much as, I can't remember his name, the guy who runs YMS did. I haven't watched it myself. I will at some point. I just hope it's better than Pinocchio or Dumbo. Those live action remakes, not the originals, are amazing. And we see my dad has chickens, so I really don't like seeing chickens in distress. I'm really glad that, I know that, this was made in America. They have laws. They used some editing and, effects to make it seem like that they did not actually break a chicken's leg for making this, nor were the chickens in any danger. When they're sent into the walkers, because it is, of course, policy to feed your zombies before you film a scene where someone might be in danger of being eaten by one. But yeah, that, I suppose I should be relieved that they're not feeding them people. I'm not surprised that they are feeding them. Yeah. And yeah, Herschel explains later in the episode, and it is what I had guessed. Not to pat myself on the back, but yeah, he thinks of them as still being people. And later on, Maggie, says, essentially Maggie says, "I know every single one of those people." She's not ready. Neither of them are ready. I guess no one on the farm is ready to accept that they are no longer human. And yeah, maybe Maggie had an idea that there was a walker in the well, and just, yeah, let's see, that brings us to the but yeah, breaking the chicken's leg, because the walkers obviously cannot catch up to a chicken. An adult human being who has experience can barely catch up to a chicken. They run real fast. That's, yeah. I am fortunate enough to not have had to chase very many times, but they do. Take my word for it. Or I'm sure there's video online of it, but just, yeah. Occasionally they get out, My dad has gotten real good at preventing them from getting out. In humane ways, to be using humane ways. It almost sounded like I said inhumane, which is not at all what I was going for there. Now, let's see. Yeah, he's standing there with the binoculars, and she walks up. Glenn was a boy, Mag was a girl. Could he make it any more obvious? And I like how for a chunk of this episode, he's clearly dying to tell someone, or undying, and everyone can tell that there's something off. I feel like if smartphones and the internet were a thing around the time of, when we're still a thing when this episode was set out. I suppose, were smartphones even a thing at the time? Were we still using regular cell phones? Whatever. Literally everyone other than Glenn of the main survivors that we've been following before we met Herschel and this whole thing would make a, private group called literally everyone but Glenn, and they would be trying to figure out what's going on with Glenn today. Why is he being so awkward? And let's see, I like I quite appreciate that Dale did what he could to keep Herschel from realizing that it was Glenn and to, like, I don't even know if I want to say by extension Maggie, because she really wasn't trying. She was trying to be careful, But yeah, and the conversation was quite good, and this point about, you live very isolated here. That is the thing, like, literally every walker in that barn is apparently someone they know, because it was this small-knit community. So once people started turning, they just couldn't see. We already, like, Rick has definitely killed at least some walkers. Now I'm doing it. Herschel's, I don't know if good influence or bad influence. I suppose it depends on your point of view. A certain point of view. But Rick has definitely killed walkers that he did not know when they, he has killed some that he did know, at least one. There was no one in the pilot, but yeah. And let's see, Dale talking to Laurie, the thing with, he could pretend, he tries to pretend that, oh, no, it was just, I could tell from you reacting to the smell of meat, and she was like, Glenn told you, and he's like, the boy's got no guile, which is really bad because he's also outmanned, outgunned, and outmaneuvered. And let's see, let's see, what was the other thing I wanted to say? Right, I appreciate Andrea, apologizing to Daryl, and, he's like, no, it's, we're cool. I'll even post to Instagram with you, try to get those creeps to stop sending death threats. And then he does say, so I'm not going to repeat it, but it was, the final thing he said, like, clearly Andrea knew he's joking, he's just, yeah, but, yeah. And let's see, I appreciated the gun, the shooting range training, and this thing of, like, in real life, I am firmly pro gun control, but I do appreciate, under a zombie apocalypse, I can appreciate this idea of teaching even a child like Carl to shoot. At least he's not like, what was it, like a 3-year-old, like how Christy Nome, I forget if it was her own kid, but I saw a thing about how she, like, shared how he has multiple guns. But yeah, there is logic in what they say, and Carl does, he points out, I know it's not a toy, and it's just, I want to be able to help out here, and it is that thing of, like, is he ready? Because it is natural for a boy his age to want to try, a child that age, to want to try to contribute, be an adult, like, even without zombies walking around. And let's see, then we have some good stuff with Maggie and Glenn. I appreciate she does really care about him. It's very clear, and genuinely upsetting attack in the pharmacy, and the thing with the let's see. I guess that pretty well does cover that bit. And yeah, after yeah, she is very upset with Lori. And Lori does also say, I didn't mean to put you in harm's way. And yeah, Maggie makes it clear, she has a point. Like, Glenn is very pure compared to the other survivors that we've been following before meeting Herschel. So there is yeah. And yeah, they point out, the part of the gun control discussion, which again, very even-handed. And in this case, it makes sense for it to be even-handed in today's, the way America looks today. It's not an even conversation at all. But yeah, I forget exactly who, but one of them is like, Carl just got shot, and I mean, fair enough. The only thing that stops a bad hunter with a gun is a good boy with a gun. I am saying they should find a dog and arm him. If you've not seen Dog Wick, you're missing out. But yeah, I mean, to some extent, that is accurate. Not the dog part, but you know what stopped Otis from shooting Carl again? Shane shooting him. That was also, holy crap, that was tense. Dale and Shane, and I kind of love how, like, at first, it almost sounds like Dale is like, I didn't realize right away where he was going with it. He starts by saying, you've got such a nice car, a lot of gas, and then he's like, why don't you get the F out? Yeah, and he points out, I don't know what happened with Otis that night, but you've been real tight-lipped about it. Shane is not necessarily the least talkative when something goes well. And then he points out, I remember you aiming your gun at Rick. And then Shane goes and spoils it all by threatening Dale. Like, holy crap. Some great stuff between Andrea and Shane as well. Oh, right. Just briefly, I did want to say, yeah, it was really genuinely when Maggie is expressing how much she cares about Glenn, protective of him. And I like the thing about, wait, was that an insult or a compliment? I'm confused. But yeah, she uses her words to make it clear, how much she cares about him. Did that occur to Elon before he did what some people are insisting was just a Roman salute? It seems like, from context clues, a lot of the people saying it was a Roman salute are, let's call them New Romans. Because I feel like that would have actually gotten the point across in a way that would not have encouraged New Romans to say, oh, yeah, he's one of us. I feel like that's a bit of a fail if you're trying to not appeal to hateful people and they feel emboldened. Yeah, some really great stuff between Shane and Andrea. The thing with you'll hit the target eventually. Who says I've been missing? And she was shooting the no trespassing sign in the O. And the advanced training with the moving target. And for some of it, he is making a good point. Yeah, it is important to be able to avoid panicking. She might not be completely ready for taking a gun into the field if him saying there's a walker right there is going to really throw off her aim, And I do appreciate that she makes him apologize and that he does it when, he crossed the line when he brought up Amy. And let's see. And it is one of those things where, like, he is almost, like, acting like other people have to be as intense as him. And let's see. Yeah, they go follow the lead. Still no Sophia. Oh, I am really, really worried. Yeah. So this is the 6th episode where she's missing in a row. And let's see, we have the yeah, the thing with yeah, you know, they check a couple of places, don't find her, and then they have to shoot their way out, and yeah, she gets her chance. And at first she does struggle, but she does end up, you know, able to remain cool and calm under pressure and shooting several of the walkers. And he's like, "You got this. You know, I'm ready in case you need it, but I believe in you. If you see me aiming my gun at that walker, you're gonna think, oh, he's got this. You know, this is, you know, it's like a what's it called? Safety wheels, training wheels off kind of sitch." And yeah, the ride home doesn't last very long before they take another kind of ride before they go home. And again, I really appreciate, you know, she's the one who initiates, you know, the show acknowledging female sexual desire and pleasure. And yeah, there's a couple of things going on there. One of them is that, you know, I am not speaking from experience, but people who have been in situations, you know, they will tell you, that's where I've heard it, yeah, it can kind of give a jolt to the sex drive to be in a life or death situation. Perhaps especially if it goes as well as it ultimately did. You know, she was able to shoot several walkers, despite the gun jamming at one point. You know, and I maybe I say too many things that I think misogynists need to hear. It's just such a big problem right now, misogyny is. So, yeah, some misogynists need to hear the following. If a woman expresses that she would like your help with something and you help her with it, that will make her happier than if you refuse or ignore. It's like, yeah, some things really are that simple. I'm not saying that every single one of these women are going to immediately jump into bed with you, but there's a lot of misogynists who would do well to try to focus more on just making the women in their lives happy and, like, not thinking so much about whether or not they're having sex with them. And let's see. Right, there was also the bit earlier in the episode where, you know, she said, "So, you're sticking around. Did something change?" And I just really want there to be an outtake where he says, I mean, same thing as you. I shot an innocent man. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers. So yeah, that really does just leave the abortion exploration, which I mentioned in an earlier video. I was figuring they would probably, get into. And yeah, I really respect the fact that they did bring it up and have various arguments on both sides. No one is truly being just irrational about it. And let's see. Yeah, I think that is pretty much what I'm going to say about it, other than that I did a little bit of research, and from what I understand, some did find it somewhat insensitive, and not just for the obvious factual inaccuracy of, you cannot get a pill that will terminate a pregnancy, like, over the counter in that kind of, at the pharmacy. That's the, it seems like they you can get a morning after pill in a pharmacy but yeah. Let's see, but yeah, I understand some, yeah, I do not feel qualified to speak on it, so that is all I will say about it, being that, I am a cis man. I do appreciate, like, technically right now, the fact that I am still a cis man is really down to me not being American, because one of Trump's numerous incredibly ill thought out executive orders did technically declare that everyone in America is now a woman. So the details are that it says that you are in America when you are the gender you are the sex that you were at conception. I think Trump is thinking of how like there are a bunch of Republican scumbags who want to say that abortion should be 100% illegal from the moment of conception, because technically everyone's sex at conception is female. Some just change to male after that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess technically that does mean they have a female president now. And a married lesbian at that.